much of magic is based on math, not sleight of hand. Self-working card tricks are those that math guarantees will always work if you have followed the steps correctly. In this video, we'll explore a card trick called ThreePeat. This trick came from a video on Stand Up Math's YouTube channel. He mentioned that he first saw the trick from Cole Mulcahy. For this trick, you need a deck of cards. It doesn't matter if you're missing a few, you just want a bunch of cards. Pick a friend or audience member to do the trick with. Tell them you're going to predict the final card in this trick, but they get to pick how to do the trick. First, they get to pick how many cards you're going to deal them. Then, they get to pick a number to count to. Tell them that to make it more interesting, it should be at least half the number of the cards you dealt to them, but not more than that number. For the trick, they're going to count their randomly chosen number 3 times, placing one card at a time from the top of their stack to the table. When they reach their number, they'll put any leftover cards on top of the counted stack. Then they'll pick up their stack and count 2 more times. When they're done with all that random reordering of the random number of cards, you will predict the value of the top card. There is one sneaky part to this trick. You have to know what the top card is before you deal the cards. You can do that by looking at the card before the trick starts, or you can figure out a sneaky way to take a peek during the trick. Now let's see how this trick works. We'll do this by performing the trick with the cards facing up. But remember, they should be facing down while you do the real trick. For this demo, let's say the number of cards dealt is 9 and the number of cards counted is 6. You start the trick holding the deck in your hand, remember, face down. The top card is number 1. That's the one you peeked at in advance. Once your friend tells you how many cards to deal them one at a time into their hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So the cards that your friend receives are in the opposite order than they were for you. The first card, the one you memorized, is now the bottom card. Now your friend starts to count to the chosen number, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After counting to 6, the leftover cards are moved as a group to the top of the stack. Now have your friend pick up the stack and count to 6 for the second time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, place the group of leftover cards on top of the stack. Have your friend pick up the stack and count for the third and final time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, move the leftovers on top of your stack. Point to the top card and tell your audience that you can predict this card. Tell them the card that you memorized when you peeked at the top of your stack at the beginning of your trick. Ta-da! Let's go back and look at all of our steps. Do you see any patterns? I think you'll find it useful if you split each stack up. Let D be the number of cards you were asked to deal, in this case 9. Let C be the number of those cards that were counted. For this example, it is 6. That means the number of uncounted cards is D minus C. Let's call that U for uncounted. In this case, U is 9 minus 6 equals 3. I think you'll find it useful if you make a division between the counted and uncounted cards. Does that help you see some patterns? Because you take the cards from the top of a stack and count them onto the bottom of the stack, you'll also find it useful if you put the counted number on bottom and the uncounted number on top, and then look at that division. Is the pattern becoming even clearer now? For this trick, you just care about that first card, the one you peeked at before the trick started. So let's watch its journey and see if it would have the same destination no matter what number of cards we deal or what number of cards we count. The card starts out in position 1. Since it's the first card we deal, it moves to the bottom of the dealt cards. It's in position D in the second stack. For the third stack, C cards are dealt to the bottom. Our card won't be in that group. It will be in the bottom of the stack that is placed on top of those C cards. This makes it the C plus first card from the bottom. If it's the C plus first card from the bottom, then it's in position U if you count from the top. For the fourth stack, the C cards that are counted to the table go to the bottom of the stack. We know our card will be in this group because U is less than C. It will be card U from the bottom, which is the same as card C plus 1 from the top. For the final stack, C cards are counted to the table, leaving our card as the top card of leftovers. When we stack the leftovers on top of the counted cards, our card is on top, and we are ready to magically predict what card it is. So we have shown that the original top card will be your final top card no matter what D and what C you pick, as long as C is at least half of D. Of course, that just explains why the top card ends up on top. If you spend some time thinking about it, you can easily determine the order of all the cards in the final stack. Here are a few examples of the order of the final stack. Do you think you know what the pattern is? Grab a deck of cards and try this trick with different numbers to test if your pattern holds. If you're good with algebra and careful with your variables, you can actually prove that the ending stack will be in a fairly easy to remember pattern for any number of cards dealt D and any number of cards counted C. To help you out, I want to share one little bit of math with you. Suppose you have D cards, and a certain card is in position X out of those D cards. What position will it be in if you reverse the order? When faced with a tough math problem, start with a simple version. See what happens when you have 10 cards. Notice that the 1 moves to 10, the 2 moves to 9, etc. The original position and the reversed position add up to 11. Now make it a little harder. Make it a generic number of cards in, but only look at the cards near the beginning and end of the stack. 1 moves to N, 2 moves to N minus 1, etc. Each pair adds up to N plus 1. So for D cards, the original position and the reversed position add up to D plus 1. Since the original position is X, the reversed position is D plus 1 minus X. So go grab some cards and amaze your friends with your magic and your math.